Man, oh man, it's been
How,
wild, dude.
It's wild.
how's it going over there?
It's going, man, it's going. This is what I'm actually dealing with right now. Getting some AC going. It's it's a wreck out here, you guys.
Oh, where
Yeah.
are you at?
We're in Treasure Island right now. Man, it's I don't know. This is not doing any justice, but like, man, I don't know if y'all can see that down the road. There's
There's
everybody's
stuff.
stuff to the curb, and it's
Mm-hmm.
beautiful in the sky, but
I know.
man,
That's what
it's
we were doing all day is sorting and curbing.
man, oh
Man,
man, it is devastating. But we're doing what we can to uh, help everybody out,
that's awesome.
everybody that we can at least. So I didn't want to miss this call because I love this call so much. You already know, but I might be a little limited, and I just want y'all to know that I'm here with you all, and I'm very
Appreciate it.
excited to be here.
For sure. How many ACs have you worked on today?
Like four.
Mm-hmm.
This is the fifth one.
Oh, wow.
Four that
Yeah.
are successful, up and running.
Yes.
Nice.
Yeah, like just got this one, so now I'm buttoning everything up, and then I've got one more that I have to look at. But either way, man, just here to help, and I'm very grateful just to be able to, give that back.
I told him to let you know.
Mm-hmm.
Same.
Cool.
That's amazing. That's
And
amazing.
I have had a couple of beers, I will say. So
I can't imagine. I can imagine.
truth and transparency, that's what it's all about.
I love it. Okay, cool. But yeah, Monica, let's go ahead and get started. If they hop in, they hop in.
Cool, cool. So today's call is about overcoming our limiting beliefs. And when I was thinking about it, I've definitely read a few books about limiting beliefs, and we can go over like a quick list of the ones that I've read, and then some other ones that when I was looking it up came up, and I was like, "Ooh, I gotta check these," and then find out if
Mm,
anybody has read them and what they thought. I feel like the base, we need to like figure out what a belief is, and it's really just a thought that we have over and over and over again until, guess what, we believe it. And so the limiting beliefs are kind of like an alignment with our conversation we had about paradigm shifts, because a limiting belief is just like a negative paradigm, right?
mm,
So it's just a belief we have that prevents us from living our best life, from reaching whatever goal we're going for, it just prevents us from getting to where we want to get to. And it's self-imposed, right? We can change them. They're not easy always, but we can change them. And so when I was looking into it, I was like, yeah, this is all very similar to the paradigm shift conversation we had, except for paradigms aren't always negative, whereas limiting beliefs, I feel like, are, right? Because you don't want to limit yourself from being able to live your best life. So the books that came up, I have my little list here that popped into my head was The Four Agreements. I don't know if anyone's read that, by Don Miguel Ruiz. Fire book, super easy to read. Small little, do I have it? I mean, I'd have to get up, but it's a small book. The other one is The Power of Now, not a small book. That's a beefy one, but
who's
Eckhart
that
Tolle.
by? Oh,
Eckhart Tolle.
okay. Yeah.
But it's really, really good. And I have, I kind of gave up on the paper copy because it's dense, but I listened to it on audiobook, and that was a lot better for sure. And then this one popped up and I was like, dang, it is true, but I didn't think about it. It's called You Are a Badass by Jen
Mm.
Sincero. I think is her name.
Sincero. Uh-huh.
Sincero, yeah. Which makes sense. It's such a fun one to listen to because she's really funny as a narrator, but I definitely can see it now that I saw it on the list of good books to check out, because it really is like your mindset is the only thing that's preventing you from reaching for the things that you want. And she does a really good job of giving personal like stories of how she was limiting herself in the past, and now obviously she's ridiculously successful and all of that. The other one is called Mindset by Carol Dweck, and I like it because it talks about like the difference between, I haven't read this one, but when I looked it up on Amazon, it talks about the difference between a growth mindset and a fixed mindset, which is
Mm,
also the same concept of like, if you have a growth mindset, you can always get better, versus having a fixed mindset is like, this is just how things are. And we know that's not true. And the other one that I really want to check out, because I've heard this name a lot recently, is Byron Katie. Has anyone heard that author's name? No?
No, I haven't.
He's, I think, been mentioned in a couple Bob Proctor books that I've been listening to. But the book is called Loving What Is. So I'm going to check that out and get back to you guys. And maybe we can put the list somewhere.
Yeah.
People want to do a little more digging. But those are the ones that popped up that I've read a bunch of, but then some new ones that I want to add to the list for sure. Because I just want to keep digging into different ways of overcoming that.
Yeah, it's interesting because I feel like sometimes we allow limiting beliefs to enable ourselves. So the instance that comes to my mind is I'm very quick to say, oh, I'm not creative. Like, oh, that's not my strong suit. That's not my wheelhouse, whatever. And Ray will always like shut it down. He's like, that's a limiting belief. But it's funny because I know what it's tied to. Like as a kid, my parents were pretty strict. They were like, oh, like you got to get straight A's, whatever. But if I got a B in art, that was the only B that they were like, oh, we'll let it slide because, you know, we know you're not that good at art. I'm like, all right,
Dang.
cool. So
it sounds like
growing,
Christina had a similar experience.
that's so funny. Let me read that. Oh my gosh. Yeah. So now I'm using it as a crutch because like I'm quick to say, okay, yeah, I'm not creative. That's not my wheelhouse. I'm not going to do it. But even in little things of like, that's why it's so funny. Like when I make those flyers for our calls, I'm like, what do you
They're
guys
so
think?
good.
Like, I'm like, just tell me like what I need to fix. Like this isn't my wheelhouse, like whatever. But then you
You're
guys, oh,
so
they're
funny.
so great. I'm
They're
like,
so good.
what?
Do you enjoy making them?
I
Or
don't
is it
mind
like
it.
annoying? Because
No,
if you
I don't
don't
think it's
like it,
no, I wouldn't say it's annoying.
okay.
It's not my like go-to thing to do. Like I wouldn't think like, you know, if I'm like, oh, I have some free time, I'm not thinking, oh, let me go on Canva and start messing around on some things. And
Right.
yeah, but it is something that I'm like, okay, maybe I should look into it a little bit more because it's a useful skill that can be applied to a bunch of different things. So yeah, it's interesting. I'd
So I
love
was
to
gonna
hear
say, if you hate
Christina's.
doing it, I can do it because I love doing it.
Oh yeah.
But I also kind of want to make you do it
Well, yeah, I'm down
because
to do it
you
for
do a
sure.
great job. But
You
yeah,
also create things like this. This is creative, like coming up with getting people together like
yeah,
this. That's
Yeah.
creative.
true.
So I don't know. Yeah,
Yeah,
I feel like it's a lot of ways to look at it.
absolutely.
But I feel like that's why it's funny because if it was just me, you know, and we've talked about this before, how words matter and it's so easy to just say things and not realize what you're truly saying. So I'm definitely
And
appreciative.
reinforcing.
Yeah. So I'm definitely appreciative of having people around me that like point that out and they're like, well, that's not true. That's just what you're saying, but that's not really
Right.
what the case is.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, that's
Um,
interesting.
so when I was making my notes for today, I was writing down, you know, like the steps, right, of how we get the limiting beliefs to begin with. And you touched on one of them, which is your family, right? Childhood. There's drama happening where Jackie is. I just heard somebody be like, what is your problem? So one of the ways that we get them is our, you know, family awareness, or, you know, the family repetition, your art. Who cares if you get a B? Not a big deal because it's not going to make you money or whatever. And the other ways that we can get it is social and cultural. So, you know, the society around us, things like you've got to be married before you have kids. That's a limiting belief, right? It might be the better option in some beliefs and cases, but it doesn't have to be. It's not a must, right? It could be better for some people to not be married. Like, who knows? Past experiences. So if you tried something and failed at it, you're just like, I'm not good at this. Or if you tried something and someone made fun of you for it, mocked it, then you might just be like, well, the next time I do this, someone's gonna mock me. Also, we know that's not true necessarily. And then comparison to others, right? So a limiting belief might be like, I'm not going to be successful unless I own 4 rental properties because so and so has 4 rental properties and look at how good they're doing. Again, not true, right? So then we can go on to once we, like Jackie did, identify where it comes from, we can try to figure out how to overcome it if it's something that you've identified. Number one, awareness. So identifying it in the first place and figuring out, if you start paying attention to yourself, you start hearing the repetition of certain things that pop into your head. And if it's a topic that you care about, you're going to start noticing that it rubs you the wrong way. You know, like you don't like the way it sounds, even if it is something you believe. So catching yourself saying it or catching other people saying it is step number one, and probably like the biggest step, because from there you can start addressing it. So then you can challenge that. Like you said, that's not true. I am creative in other ways. So if you're not sure if it's true, ask yourself the question, like, is this evidence-based, this idea that's in my head, this belief that I have, or is this fear-based or learned from others? And then you can reframe it. So I'm going to keep picking on Jackie's example. And instead of saying like, I'm not creative, you can say, I have a creative mind and I can make beautiful things when I put my mind to it. Something that reframes what you've been saying. And as soon as you hear yourself say it, reframe it. That way it becomes a new habit and a new perspective on what you're capable of. And then the fourth one is take action. So in Jackie's case, doing it anyways, right? So making a flyer, even though that might not feel like the best or the most common use of your time or what you're used to doing, do it anyways and see what happens. You're going to get praised, you know, like we love her flyers. And so everyone always comments on how good they look. And that can help reinforce the positive new perspective and create a new belief. And then number 5 is support. So like we're here to tell her that she did a great job. Ray is there to tell her that's not true. So having that support system, and if you express that to people and let them know like, hey, I feel like I keep telling myself this, if you can create some kind of accountability with someone and say like, hey, if you catch me saying this, please tell me that's not true. Remind me to reframe it. And having someone that can and be there to support you on the reframe, I think is massive. As we know, any kind of support that you can get on something you're trying to change in your life, because doing it by yourself is tough sometimes.
Yeah, I think the awareness part of it too, I think is just the biggest piece, because
Biggest.
even before, like I know that I've said that statement of like, oh, I'm not creative for a really long time. Like the grade situation, that was from like middle school. So it's only been recently where it's been like called out that no, that's a limiting belief, and like that awareness of it was like, I guess I can kind of change that if I want to. So I think, yeah, definitely has to start with being aware of what you're saying out loud and how you're limiting yourself.
Yeah. And we do it in like every aspect of our lives, like relationships. You know, some people might think like there's no good men out there left. You know, you hear that all the time. Obviously, that's not true. You might hear, I'm never going to be a millionaire. Like, that's not for me. Obviously, also not true. Just all kinds of things like, I'll never be able to lift 100 pounds. You keep working at it. Yes, you can. Or, you know, some people are like, oh, I can't touch my toes. That's never going to be me. Yes, you can. You know, there's just all different kinds of things that we limit ourselves. Oh, I'll never be able to finish a book. I've heard that before. And I'm like, what do you mean? Of course you can finish a book. Like, do you want to finish a book? Because I think that's the bigger question. Does anyone
Yeah,
else have any limiting beliefs they want
just
to
quick on
get
that,
into?
I was gonna say, I feel like hearing you give those examples, it really points out how like I'm a big proponent in telling people that like they control their lives. Like, you know, whatever you want to create, you have the power to create. And I think that goes hand in hand with the limiting beliefs, because people put
Mm-hmm.
themselves in this box thinking that they can only reach a certain height or ceiling. And it's crazy because you touched on it. You're saying like, okay, but what do you actually want? Like, do you want to do those things? And if so, there's a way to get it done. There's a way to
Mm-hmm.
like, you can plan out the next steps. You can track like your progress. Like, it's so crazy because people really do get stuck, especially like you hear statistics all the time. People say like, nobody picks up a book. Like it's like very minimal percentage after high school that people actually read a full book front to back.
True.
little things like that. It's just crazy because we do have that power to control or to change those things about ourselves. And like all those things that you listed, you know, being aware, writing it down, having support, like changing the paradigm, whatever the case may be, like it's just crazy because I think that's people's problems is we need to take more time sitting down and really writing out what we're working towards or what we want out of life or like what it is that we're trying to accomplish. Like we don't take the time to really step back and take that aerial view of our lives.
I agree.
I feel like when we have limiting beliefs like imposed on us, that also buries the things that we actually want. Like it just, right? Like it just keeps kind of getting buried on top of other people's beliefs, views, wishes, whatever it is that is kind of like we have all of these things that we want to do, and then we just go out into the world and we just get influenced from all different directions. So that's why it's so important, I feel like, to constantly be evaluating and reevaluating, like, okay, is this what I really want? And like that reevaluation piece is so important because I think that what is it? Planned continuation bias. I learned about that yesterday. And it's like this, it's a real like theory that talks about like the human tendency to continue on with a plan, even though you know that it maybe is not working for you the way that you originally thought, just because it's a plan and you kind of convince yourself that you have to stick to it. So
That could go both ways, right? Like we can take that
yeah.
positively and negatively.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So I just think about that. I think about like how just in my own life, like especially since I moved to Arizona from Boston 2.5 years ago and really kind of just picked up my life and moved here, not on a whim. I gave myself a couple months, but it was pretty quick.
Yeah.
And that's what I've been doing for the last 2.5 years is like, where did this belief come from? When did I learn this? How did I learn this? And is it my belief or is it the belief of somebody directly or indirectly in my life, you know?
Right. Were you raised in Boston?
Yeah.
Yeah. Isn't it funny when we like leave the environment that we're surrounded by all the same people and the same thoughts and the same beliefs and the same blah, 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 blah. And you remove yourself from that and you're like, there's
Yeah.
life outside of that like
Yeah,
has
absolutely.
nothing.
And it's
Yeah.
like, that's what I want, even though I didn't really know what I was chasing or what I wanted, that's what I wanted, right? Was to expand my mindset and get around new people. And I wanted the big change. That's why I did it. But did I know everything that would go into it when I did it? No. But would I have done it if I did? Probably not. So.
Right. Amazing. Corey sent us
I don't know
I'm
what
not
he's
sure
trying
what
to
that
say
is.
with that.
I'm like, is he a robot?
He's Superman. Yeah.
Man.
Brian, you
I think
missed it in the
he's being
beginning.
supportive.
Yeah, Corey was telling us he's in the trenches right now of Treasure Island, helping with some cleanup stuff out there.
Oh, that's cool. Well, I've got
Yeah.
I got my first storm damage house that called in.
Oh, really?
And, yeah, so I'm actually gonna put some bandit signs out in the area and we buy storm damage houses. I've done that before after a hurricane in North Carolina. So I got my first one today. So she wrote back and she texted me back and she said they're waiting for the homeowner's insurance and the, storm insurance, whatever she's got. Waiting for the adjuster to get back to her. So she said, call me back on Monday. But I have a cold caller calling and she said she was interested. She was interested at a way too high of a price.
Of course.
For a damaged house, but we're gonna have that conversation.
Sure.
So
funny.
Yeah, that it's ugly over there, isn't it? Who all's in the Tampa Clearwater area? You are?
Me and Corey and his wife.
Yeah. I was in Newport Richey, so it's a Trinity area, and all around us it was awful, but we got nothing. We didn't lose power or anything.
Wow.
Nice.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. But we had a lot of friends that did. And I have a house that's in Holiday, my first flip that I'm gonna do. I was like, oh, but it was actually
okay?
It was untouched. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Good.
It was on higher ground, so that was good.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what this is gonna mean for flood rates going forward. They're
Well, I mean, yeah, it's
Pretty
Florida.
very high.
Yeah, it's Florida.
Mhm.
It is what it is. Yeah, they'll probably do something with it, but
picture you chose to send.
there's a
Sure.
demand still for Florida.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now it's just going to give up some people the opportunity to move into Florida because these people are now, okay, I'm out. Some people are
Mhm.
like, I'm out. I don't want to do this anymore.
Mhm. I know.
So,
I've these red pin alerts on my phone. They're silent, but they do pop up of like houses that I've just saved and looked at. And one of them popped up today, and I was like, that can't be accurate. And it said price reduced 250,000. And I was like, nope, that's accurate. It was
that's accurate. Yeah, especially,
yeah, Shore Acres. God,
yeah.
trash.
You know, yeah, it's horrible. It's horrible, but this is, again, we know what we're getting into when we live in Florida.
Especially if you
So,
live in a flood zone, you know? We were just talking about that because it's on my list of like some days living
Mhm.
on the water.
Absolutely.
You know, gotta live on the water.
Absolutely.
And then things like this happen. I'm like, maybe a condo.
Well,
Maybe a
and
big, very big structured condo.
you know, if it's an older house, obviously it's going to be a lot of more underwater. But the newer houses, they're built, you know,
On
on the
stilts.
stilts and, you know, all
Yeah.
that stuff. So, but even that, I think they're pretty, the water went up pretty high.
Yeah, it did.
But, you know, if you can afford that house, you can afford to fix that.
Right. Right.
Typically.
Yeah.
So
But I still
what,
want to do that. I still live on the water. I don't care.
so what you got for us on the limiting beliefs topic, Brian?
Well, I just hear Brene Brown tell me the story I tell myself.
Mhm.
What's that?
So
No,
that's just
that's
the
her
thing.
line.
That's
Oh.
her
Her
line.
line is like,
We
"Is
always
this the
tell
story
ourselves
I'm
a
telling myself?"
story.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
The stories we
like
tell
that.
ourselves, and they're always
Yeah.
lies. They're always false. They're
Mhm.
always not true. And so for me, it's like, you know, I've tried to do videos and whatnot, just being silly. I don't know what I'm doing, but at the same time, I'm going to start doing more. But I've
Good.
been also super busy with so much going on, which is good.
Mhm.
So I'm trying to kind of implement it as I can. But every time I get on it, like to start doing it, I'm like, this is so stupid. The story I'm telling myself is nobody wants to hear this. Nobody wants you on. Why are you doing this? That imposter syndrome is so big.
Mm.
So big.
And you know, I do have something to say. I have something to give. And if it's not for everyone, it's for someone, you know. And so
Mhm.
I have to just keep that in my mind. But that's the story I tell myself, is that who wants to hear me, you know?
Mm.
So
Mhm. Yeah.
That's good. Yeah, I did see a recent post about that, and I think you even called it out too, right? And I think that's kind of the cool thing about putting yourself out on social media. I feel
yeah,
like everybody goes through that uncomfort.
yeah.
Yes, Christina, I was just thinking that. So Jen Gottlieb has this phrase, it's
Oh
hope,
yeah. Yeah.
help one person every day. And I think with having
Oh, I
that
love that.
mentality, I've kind of already gotten to a point, and you're going to get there if you're not already there, of where like,
Yeah.
I don't care the interactions I get on the things that I post. Cause even it's funny, like you'll start to notice too that like Facebook gets really weird about like what it's pushing out to certain people. And you're like, okay, I know nobody's getting shown this right
Yeah.
now. It has nothing to do with you as a person. Like as long as you have that consistency and you're doing it with a purpose. I've had people that like, they'll tell me like, oh, thank you for posting this. Something that I'm like, I didn't even think, you know,
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, why am I sharing this? Whatever. But like it matters to somebody, and that's all
Right.
that matters.
Yeah. So I've
Mhm.
got some big ideas with it too. And I'm like, this can actually really propel what I'm doing. It doesn't necessarily mean that everybody's going to hear it or everybody's going to see it. But like one of the things that I got the website Blight to Delight, you know, that's a website. So I'm going to push that out there, Blight to Delight. And these storm damaged houses are blighted right now,
For
you
sure.
know, and it's like, put it out there. Hey, let's bring this blight back to delight, and let's like do something with it. I'm going to start pushing that a little bit more. And it's just, I got these cool ideas, but every time I go to push it in my mind, it's like, you know, every time. So I'm like, I got this. I'm going to do it. I'm just going to push through. I've got to embrace the suck and just
Mhm.
do it. It's going to be worth it because it's also going to help more leads come in, more deals come in, more money come in, more, you know, everything. So
Mhm.
I'll have more to tell, more to share, more to
Not
help
only
with.
that, but then you're also building your credibility at the same time.
Right. Right.
Mhm.
Right. So, yep, very excited about that. It's going to be, you're going to start seeing stuff of that because I go through blighted houses. We all do in what we do. The crazier, the better, in my opinion. I love those houses.
Agreed.
So, you know, I just, one of my guys who's calling in Jacksonville, he's got one of our leads and he called on it. And then the lady was like, it needs to be condemned. It's got mold in it. It's got holes in the roof. I'm like, perfect. That's exactly what we want. Now we have to get through the probate. Go
Right.
for it. You know.
Right.
So again, this is what we do, right? And we have to push through all the time. So these limiting beliefs, they're so real, and everybody faces it. And this is what, again, the thing that we need to think of. Everybody faces this, not just me. So if everybody's facing this, everybody who has to come through it, we all are in the same boat. We all feel the same way. Jen Gottlieb, now new fan, she was at the summit, and I'm like, she was awesome.
Yeah, she's
she
great.
actually made me cry. So she made us close our eyes, and all of a sudden she's like, put your hand on your chest. And basically she was saying something about a year from now, tell yourself you did it. You know, I was like, holy shit, this is like, wow.
Right.
I'm in tears. And then she says, give the person next to you a hug or something like that. And this girl next to me, I'm like in tears. She was like, you okay? I'm like, yeah, I'm good. But I was like, it hit me hard. So I'm like, she's a big fan of mine now. So like, she touched my heart.
See what I mean though? Like, can you imagine if Jen never thought she'd touch someone like you?
Oh my gosh.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If she was like, this guy's not my audience, I talk to women or whatever. If she could have had a limiting belief about who she'd be able to touch,
absolutely,
she probably could never imagine that she would have, gotten that kind of a reaction from you. So it's the same for you. Like, you don't know who your voice and your personality and the way that you put yourself out there is gonna get somebody,
Well, and apparently it's coming to fruition for me because people are starting to come to me and ask for help, and things are happening, and it's like, okay, I got to really get it together, Brian. Get this together. You got this. And so it's just putting it all together now.
Good.
Very cool. I'm a big crybaby, by the way. So
it's good to
I love it.
It's important.
That's cool though.
Yeah.
I feel like it's really easy, especially on social media, to be like, my target audience is people like me, or like people that are in the same place I was a year ago or months ago. And I feel like that could be a limiting belief.
For sure.
Hearing that.
Yeah. Like I said, you never know. You literally never know. You're just like, what? What do you mean you listen to what I had to say? Or what do you mean you think what I did was inspiring? Like, you never could have imagined that. You just don't know. And I try to remind myself that we live in a realm of unlimited possibilities. You just never ever know.
Yeah. I'm going to say this. I don't know what you said, Jackie. I don't know if this is with your limiting belief, but I'm going to tell you, you've encouraged me through your just posting and doing. When you said you were going to do it, you did it. And you pushed through it. And, I don't know where you're at with that right now, but I always actually in my mind, when I'm doing these things, you come to my mind because I'm like, Jackie did it. If Jackie can do it, I can do it. That kind of thing.
I love that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's a cool thing too. I think, it's easier to get through those limiting beliefs with the people that you're surrounding yourselves with, because even when I first started posting, my audience on social media is so supportive because of the people that I've intentionally surrounded myself with. So that part of it is cool too, because a lot of people, it's not just me that's making themselves uncomfortable and putting themselves out there and looking to grow. Like, that's my whole feed. Like, it's so funny to me when people talk about like, oh, social media is so like draining or whatever, but I'm a big believer that like your social media is how you curate it. Like
100%.
I think it was like 2 years ago, I unfollowed all celebrities, like I'm strictly like real estate business. Like, when I'm on social media, I'm not really scrolling. I mean, sometimes you get caught in the reels or whatever, but like my feed is like, it's posts from people that are doing things, which I think is really cool to see. And that encourages me also. It's So I'm like, oh, okay, they're doing it too. So
Mhm.
yeah, definitely
I agree.
your surrounding is huge.
I feel like that's limiting belief too, right? Having people be like, social media is nothing but negativity. It's like, da, 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 da. And it's like, no, it's what you make it. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I was just showing my boyfriend the other day. I was like, I just want to show you, like, let's scroll through my social media. And it's all like inspiring posts, people doing real estate, like health conscious things. Like, it's literally, you could just keep going and it's all positivity. And it's like, people just don't realize that, like we were talking earlier, you can turn off your notifications. Like, people are like, oh, my phone just keeps going off. Yes, your phone that you control keeps going off and interrupting. You are right. Yeah. So let's fix that. You can change that.
Well, you know what's crazy? I got to say this because this is just because we're in the middle of this now, recovering from the storm and all this stuff. My girlfriend was like inundated. She was so stuck on the negatives, the horrible things, the sad stories, all this stuff, and it was just really affecting her. I was like, girl, you got to take that, you got to put that down. You got to stop with that.
No, you're doom scrolling. Isn't that what it's called?
Doom
Kids
scrolling.
these
Oh my
days.
gosh. And she was like, yeah, you're right. It's not good. I'm like, it is not. All of Clearwater was not underwater. This is just the truth.
Yeah.
All of Tampa was not underwater. There were sections that were lower than others. Some people, and then someone said, well, these people had to be saved. They were told to get out. They chose to stay there. And then they're like, how we need help. Well, how are we going to get to you?
Right.
These things, it's like all these things, it's like, oh, poor things. No, not poor things. They put themselves in that situation. Let's not get into this woe is me victim mentality, this doom scrolling. That's exactly what it was. I was like, yes, they're going to be fine. Everything's going to be okay. They lost their stuff.
Right.
They lost their stuff.
And everyone that I've interacted with that's been in that position, which has been a lot over the last few days, all of those people are just so grateful that it
that's
was
awesome.
just stuff.
I
Like,
love it.
they're so grateful that so many people have come together to help them.
I love it.
Like there's so much like warmth and gratitude in the community,
Yeah.
and they're all just like, hey, it's just stuff. We were able to get out.
Yep.
We have somewhere cold to spend the night, that's got air conditioning, and they're all just like so grateful. And so those are the things that I've been sharing is ways to donate, places that you can donate clothes and furniture.
The good
and
of humankind comes out in these situations. Exactly.
So share that stuff,
Yeah. I love that.
My goal is always to, hopefully, for the people who haven't curated their social media, to sprinkle in some not horrible crap. You know what I mean? Like help balance out the scales a little bit. And so, just sharing, if it is something that's touching her, because it sounds like she cared, right? Like she sounded
totally
like
deeply
she was
cares.
upset, right?
Absolutely.
So like take that feeling and turn it into like, okay, so what can I do where I can turn this into like, who's helping these people? Can I share their information?
Well, that was where she didn't want to do it, but she wanted to do it. One of her friends was out of electric in her house, and it was hot. It was hot on Friday.
Oh, it's horrible.
So she said, "Come stay with us, drink coffee at my house, sit on the couch, do your work, just chill with us." And she did that, and her power came back on, and she went home. But she was like, "Okay, that made me feel good. I didn't want her there necessarily. I didn't want to do that, but I did it because I wanted to help." And that's where she was like, she felt good about that. I'm like, great, that's perfect. So
everything we can do to switch it around.
I don't know if Corey wanted to chime in on anything before. I don't know if his hands are tied right now. He's got going on, but yeah, if not, then Monica, we can kind of get into the meditation too.
Totally.
Oh, man, this guy's going crazy.
Behind you?
The crow over here.
Oh, you got a little friend?
Where are you?
I'm in Alaska.
What?
Yeah.
Alaska. You went furthest from the storm you could think of.
Right.
Hey, it's coming near us. Let's leave. Let's go to Alaska.
She didn't even know it was happening, right?
Oh, yeah. I bet. How long did it take you to get there?
Well, we've been traveling since August. Like August 17th was the day we left Florida. So
really, I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
So you've been out of the state since August.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Yeah. I just see you on here. I'm thinking you're just right down the street. So.
Oh man, I think Corey got booted off anyway, Monica, so he can go ahead.
Dang. Okay.
He's in the trenches, y'all.
He really is. Okay, let's get this music going. Can y'all hear that?
Yes.
Yes.
Jackie, are you meditating outside of this random whatever you're in front of?
Oh, you already know I meditate anywhere.
Go.
Better than a Chick-fil-A.
True, true. Okay. So as usual, if you guys want to stay on camera, feel free. We're gonna close our eyes, so no one's really gonna be looking at you, but you can also turn it off if you want to. And get comfortable. We're gonna close our eyes and take a few deep breaths through our nose and out through our nose. Start to feel your body relaxing. Unclench your jaw. Let all the muscles on your face just melt. Do a quick scan of your body from top of your head down through your neck, your shoulders, into your back, down through your legs, to the tips of your toes. Just anywhere you feel tension, take a deep breath into that space. When you exhale, release that tension. Now we're going to start imagining some of the limiting beliefs that we have. For this practice, let's pick one. One belief that you know is holding you back. Some thought that pops in your head that creates a barrier between you now and you that you want to be. Your future self, your highest self, your happiest self. Imagine this warm ball of amber light floating right in front of you. As you breathe in, the light gets brighter. Take that limiting belief and place it inside the ball of light. Every time you breathe in, you see the light get brighter and the belief start to melt away. It dissolves into the ball like sugar dissolves in warm water. Every time you breathe in, you see the light absorb more of this belief, so there's nothing left. Replace it with a positive, contrary belief, an empowering belief. Really shoot for the stars on this one. You are powerful. You are capable. There are an infinite amount of things that you are able to do, to learn. Believe in yourself. As you solidify the new belief, imagine it getting solid inside the ball of light as a sentence, as a piece of paper. Maybe it's a message on a stone. However you visualize this belief, new, limitless belief. As you continue to breathe, this ball of golden light grows. As it continues to grow, it slowly surrounds you until you're inside the ball of light with your belief. Take some very deep breaths and allow it to absorb into your mind. Into your heart. It is yours. Feel the warmth of the golden light surrounding you. Maybe you have a slight smile on your face, knowing that you're capable, that you know the steps forward, that you know exactly who to tell about your new belief, who will support you. We will support you. As you continue breathing in, feeling the golden light surrounding you, imagine it now getting smaller. With every exhale, it grows smaller. It absorbs to the center of your chest. Slowly, feel the warmth. Feel it pulling in all of your energy, your intention. Making it so bright, so powerful. once you feel like it's fully absorbed, found its home inside of you, inside of your heart, say thank you. Thank yourself for creating this new belief, for believing in yourself, for knowing you are capable of anything that you set your mind to. Take 2 more deep inhales, 2 more deep exhales. As always, I want to say thank you for joining us on this call, for being present, sharing your energy with us. The light within me sees and recognizes the light within you. Namaste. Whenever you're ready, start to wiggle your fingers and your toes. Start to come back to the room. Stretch your neck out. Open your eyes. Come back together.
Thank you so much for that, Monica.
You're welcome.
That's so crazy. I just couldn't help but think of like, I have so much gratitude for this space and this group. And like, I'm so thankful to the people that show up. Like, even though we had a smaller turnout this week, I think it was exactly who was supposed to be here. And it amazes me every time because people I feel like are just so willing to share. I mean, I might call some people out sometimes, but for the most part, like
You
people really
invite them.
just yes. And people really just share from their hearts. And I'm just so grateful because I really do think that like we're all connected. We're meant to be on this journey together to learn from each other's experiences. And I mean, the things that we talk about, like having that support group and the people that we can turn to, like that's really the vision of this community that we're trying to build, is people know that they have a place to come to on a weekly basis to find that for them and just to grow with each other. So thank you guys.
Yeah, thank you.
Sweet.
I invite everybody to write down whatever that belief was, because as we were talking about before, making it solid, you know, writing down, if you want to, your original limiting belief, how you reframed it, some action steps that you can take towards it, and then your support system, somebody that you might reach out to and say, hey, I keep telling myself this, help me. Jackie's in the wild.
I'm literally outside of Wells Fargo because that's the only
Is that what
place
it
that
is?
has Wi-Fi. Next to the post office.
So funny. Gorgeous there. Dark here now. Well, thank you guys all for coming.
Thank you.
All right, guys. See you next week.
All
Have a
right.
good night, everybody.
Bye,
Stay
y'all.
safe out there.
Bye.